November 12th, 2015. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 86 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting next to me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
All right, let's just get this out of the way since it just hit the news. Daily Fantasy Sports, DraftKings, and FanDuel. So the New York Attorney General basically came out and said, hey, this is illegal gambling in New York State, and sent a cease and desist notice to both DraftKings and FanDuel.
And that was today, right?
That was yesterday. Well, as we're recording this, it was yesterday. So Tuesday of this week, yeah. So the Attorney General is basically saying you have to stop accepting wagers from New York residents. Although at this point, he's not asking the companies to discontinue their operations in the state, which I don't know what that means. I mean, what is that? But it's all going to come crashing down.
Well, how do they differentiate that you're in New York?
Well, you can tell, all the wagers are basically done over, a computer or your cell phone or something like that. And, they can tell where you are.
So, but if you live on the border, you can drive to the 7-Eleven across the border and make your wagers?
Yeah, you might be able to,
on your cell phone?
Yeah, you might be able to. Yeah. Because remember, when we were at VIMF, people were telling us then, hey, I can't make my daily fantasy sports picks here.
Right.
I'm getting a notice saying,
right, you can't because they were in
because they were actually in Nevada at the time, right? So yeah, you could probably just go to a different state.
Come on, some of the states, where you live right on the border,
yeah,
you can just cross the border and do it.
Well, sure, yeah. Look, this is all going to come crashing down. Is it gambling? Yes, we've said it's gambling as much as poker's gambling. Is there skill involved? Sure, but there's skill involved in poker. There's skill involved in a lot of gambling, and this is just
it's gonna come crashing down, and then the NFL will be stuck with all those FanDuel and DraftKings commercials.
That's right. Yeah.
What are they going to do about that?
I don't know. We were talking about that the other night. A lot of these leagues, hockey and football, they've probably accepted advertising for an entire season. So,
right.
Yeah.
Sure. They probably got a lot of money already from these people. How does it get back to them?
Yeah. Let's move on. This is going to end soon, folks. If you've got any significant money on these sites, get it off now. All right, let's talk about some bad beats. Everybody likes a bad beat story, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't like a good bad beat?
All right, well, whether that's true or not, we are going to tell a couple of stories. So recently, the Melbourne Cup was held in Australia. It's probably the biggest horse race in Australia.
Yeah,
you lived in Australia for a little while.
Yes, I lived in Australia for a year and a half. Yeah. It's a big race.
Yeah.
And it's their Kentucky Derby, basically.
Right, yes. Yeah, good example, yeah. And history was made this year because a woman jockey won for the first time. Michelle Payne is her name. Here's the bad beat. Payne was riding a horse called Prince of Penzance. A pretty big long shot. It was like 100-to-1 long shot or something.
Oh, it was that big. I think
it was.
Yeah.
That's what they were reporting. It was something. It was a pretty big long shot, right? So a woman from Perth named Chantel bet $20 on Prince of Penzance. And her winning ticket was worth $825. I don't think it was a win ticket. It must have been like a place or a show ticket or something.
Yeah.
But she bet 20, and after the race, the ticket was worth $825. Before she cashed the ticket, she posted a picture of herself holding the ticket to her Facebook page.
Yeah, very common among stupid people to put all their life stuff on Facebook. I have a big problem with that.
Well, sure. I mean,
I do. I mean, do they have to put everything? I mean, if I put every time, my stomach was upset on Facebook, that's all I'd be putting on Facebook, right?
Yeah, well, would that get you in trouble? I don't know. Maybe it would.
Maybe.
But you're right. I mean, a lot of people do feel this way is, hey, Facebook has too much of my information. Too much of my information is going out there.
Right.
It's dangerous. Well, in this case, it was dangerous for her to the tune of $825 because one of her Facebook friends.
Yeah, friend.
Made a copy of the ticket, basically got the barcode from the ticket because she'd showed the whole ticket on there and cashed in the ticket before Chantel had a chance to.
Well, she was in Perth. The race is in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. So maybe she was going to go the next day or something.
Well, no, I think it's an automated machine.
Okay.
That you just, you can make your wager and you can cash in your wager, right?
Right.
And so that's, somebody just went to, I don't know where these automated machines are in Australia. They might be all over the place. I'm sure there's a lot of off-track betting.
Right.
Racing's pretty big over there, right?
It's very big, yeah.
So, somebody just saw her posting there. Yeah.
Now, did they track down who did it?
Well, supposedly they have video, or at least she says that the police were able to at least track down where the money was claimed. And she's confident that the police are going to catch whoever did it.
If I was the police, though, after I caught the person, I would not do anything and just let him go and tell the lady, it's $825. It's the price of being stupid.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to call her stupid. She was excited, and ignorant is about as far as I'll go.
Okay.
She
ignorant.
had no idea,
all right? I'll go with
okay.
ignorant. I'll go with ignorant.
I mean, it's just one of those things you have to be careful on. And on some of the Vegas forums and discussions, people have said, hey, it's great to post like a winning ticket or show what you did.
Right.
Just don't post the whole ticket, right? Especially the bottom with the barcode and all the information, at least. Yeah. So that's something good to keep in mind.
Well, let's use ourselves as a scenario. We're out at Harrah's. We have a big win.
Yes.
Do you immediately go to Facebook and say, hey, I just won $10,000. I'm on my way home now. It's 3 a.m. It's dark. Here's the route I take. I've
got a great story. I went out to Verona once with my mom and my sisters, right? And so my sister Sue won, I don't know, a little money on a slot. It was maybe $40 or something like that. Yeah. So we're leaving, we're in the parking garage, and we get onto the elevator with all these strangers, and my mom turns to my sister and says, well, congratulations on your big win.
Oh, gosh.
And we're just kind of gritting our teeth like, first of all, it wasn't that big a win. Right. And what, you want to get us mugged here right in the elevator?
Right in the elevator, right? As soon as you just step out. Well, it's true, though. You don't put information like that out.
Yeah,
now,
right.
I use 10,000 as an example, but, $825 is still some money that.
Well, somebody took advantage of it. And was it one of her friends? I don't know. Is her Facebook page available to everyone? That's another thing, right?
Right.
Something to keep in mind.
Well, when we win 10,000, I'm going to keep it quiet.
Okay, good. Yeah. Let's not, next time we hit the fire bet, we just won't say, we'll just come on the podcast. Yeah, we hit the fire bet this week. And that'll be it.
It's already in the bank. No need to mug.
Yeah, it's already in the bank. All right, one more bad beat story. So, this woman, her name is Veronica Castillo. She was playing the Jurassic Riches slots at the Lucky Eagle Casino in Rochester, Washington. And she hit a jackpot saying she had won over $8.5 million. Okay.
I wonder what she was playing.
It was like a 25-cent machine.
Okay.
Right?
So, she was putting 75 cents in a pool?
Maybe something like that.
Yeah,
or,
probably not going to pay $8.5 million.
The casino told her that the slot had malfunctioned and that she had only won a little over $80. Okay? That's what the casino said. Now, remember, most slots say, any machine malfunction voids, the
it usually
payout,
says it right
that,
on the machine. Right.
But this machine, and she had a picture of it, clearly showed over $8.5 million payoff. Right? Okay, that's what it said. Now, according to the casino, the maximum jackpot on that machine is only $20,000, which is probably true.
Right. Well, a quarter machine, right?
Yeah.
So it's a complete computer glitch.
Yeah, exactly. Now, a spokesman for the casino said, the win claimed by Ms. Castillo is not legally or practically possible on the machine. Now, legally, I'm not a lawyer. I can't speak to that.
Yeah, but there's probably some gaming regulation about what a machine can pay.
It could be, right. And I like that you used the word practically possible. Because we talked about a similar case before. Remember when it was a case where this grandmother had, supposedly won this much money, and the amount would have bankrupted the casino.
Right.
It was clearly an error.
Right. And this is I take it a small casino. Yeah. So it probably 80 million would probably bankrupt.
Well, this is just $8.5 million. But it would it'd still sting. There's no question about it. So anyway, she plans on suing. I imagine maybe a settlement of like $20,000, which is the most that it could pay, plus legal fees.
Right.
Maybe something like that.
Well, if they're smart, they won't even let it come to a lawsuit. Just give the lady $20,000.
Yeah.
She's hopefully she's smart enough to be happy. Yeah. Then she can post it to her Facebook.
That's right. I got it. The check or the whole check with all the information on it right there. Yeah.
Get mugged on the way home. Lose it. It'd be a good lesson for everybody.
And then the casino can go ahead and sue the slot manufacturer, I suppose. That would be another step. If for some reason they lose a lot of money on it, the casino could just go along and.
Yeah, I guess. Malfunctions happen, right?
Oh, sure.
They do on almost every machine I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They tell you right there that anything, if some guy's pushing the machine or shaking the machine and something weird comes up, it's void.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that it often says that you've gotten a huge jackpot. It usually malfunctions in some other way. Like one of the reels stops spinning or something like that. Right.
Or your payout piece of paper comes halfway out and then shoots back in.
Right.
Right. I've had that happen to me many times.
And then they say, well, sorry, sir.
Yeah. And they have to go through.
All right. So those are our bad beats. Let's move on. So back in September, Vegas Tripping reported that a class action lawsuit was filed against the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas for illegally recording phone calls. So apparently it was like, when you call in to like make reservations or a place, anytime you call a company, a lot of times there'll be a recording that comes on that says this call is being recorded for quality assurance purposes. Right. And sometimes you can opt out of it. If you don't want to be recorded, let the operator know, or whatever, right?
Because you might give away some real secret information,
right? You might actually give away, the barcode,
right? My winning ticket. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just won a bunch of money,
and here's the number associated with it. So anyway, this case was settled for about $14.5 million. The only reason we're mentioning it now is because apparently your brother...
Yeah, my brother got a notice, one of those class action lawsuit notices that you get in the mail.
Yeah.
That, he's included in that, and he's entitled to whatever his share is. So, 74 cents, something like that.
Did he say how much it was?
No,
or he
didn't. I don't think he
didn't
knew.
Know at that point?
Yeah, I don't think he knew.
When has he stayed at the Cosmopolitan? I don't remember him.
Evidently he has. And evidently they taped his phone call.
You'll have to ask about that, because I don't remember him ever telling us any stories about staying at Cosmo.
He must have stayed at Cosmo. He goes a lot for business.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
And they might have booked it through his work.
Okay. Yeah. All right. A little more news. So, Caesars Entertainment currently has 3 properties in Ohio. And it was just announced that by June of next year, June 2016, the Horseshoe Cleveland, the Horseshoe Cincinnati, and the Thistledown Racino will no longer be affiliated with Caesars Entertainment. They're going to be taken over by Rock Gaming LLC. I thought that was kind of significant. In all the articles I was reading about this, I couldn't exactly find out why this was happening, but I suspect
it must be something to do with reorganizing due to bankruptcy.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Why else would it be?
Right. That's what I'm guessing too.
Unless they were poorly run casinos that were losing money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that ever happens.
Okay. All right.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've never heard of that.
A casino going out of business?
Yeah, no, I've never heard of that. So it must just be restructuring.
Just restructuring.
We don't follow this closely enough. The guys over at the Vegas gang, I'm sure they'll sort it all out.
They'll sort it all out. Let us know.
Yeah, exactly. We got a Twitter post from listener Greg, our friend Greg, who lives in Las Vegas.
Right. Okay.
He posted a picture of the craps layout at the Orleans in Las Vegas.
And we haven't been there in a long time.
Well, I can't remember last time I was in Orleans. With you, I think I was with my family there maybe 15 years ago, but not with you.
It's out of the way.
Yeah, sure. You'd have to make a special
I know
trip
I've been there.
It's a locals casino for the most part. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, he showed this layout, and there was a new bet on the table. It was the hard way place bet. So it was a place bet you could make on the hard 4 or the hard 6 or the hard 8 or the hard 10, 4 different bets. Uh-huh. And it would win if the hard way came up, but it would only lose if a 7 came up.
So the only time it does lose is when 7 comes
Right. It doesn't lose if the easy way comes up for it.
Okay.
It's only loses on the 7. And it's up there kind of in the place bet area. There's a separate location for it. Yeah. And it pays 5 to 1.
Now, what happens if let's say you're out on a point of 5.
Okay.
You make your 5, and then on the come out, you 7.
Yeah.
And normally your hard ways would be off. You'd say, they're off coming out.
Yeah.
Is this always on?
I'm assuming that since they're place bets, and it very clearly says place bets on the table,
so they're
automatically off.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
And you could call them on maybe if you wanted.
I assume so, because like any other place bet, you could make them at any time and take it down at any time. Just like you could with a hard way. You never see people taking a hard way down, but you can if you want to.
Who would do that?
It's crazy.
It's insane.
They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah, they're coming.
But anyway, it pays 5 to 1. So again, you bet on a hard 6. If hard 6 comes up, you win 5 to 1. If a 7 comes up, you lose.
Yeah.
Now it should pay 6 to 1. So it turns out that the house edge is a little over 14%, making it one of the worst bets on the table.
Yeah, as compared to a regular hard way.
Right. Well, yeah, it is. It's worse than a regular hard way. And it's certainly worse than any place bet. Now, it's not as bad as like a hop bet or like an any 7 bet, something like that.
Right.
But anyway, it's a new bet. I always like when they're trying new things out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So do they have the regular hardways as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you could bet them both.
Yeah. Did you see the picture of the layout?
Yeah, I saw the picture, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, no, it's
anything
right.
past 24 hours is gone.
It's right up there in the place bet area. It's kind of a little in the come bet area. So that it's separate.
Oh, that's
from
right. It was off to the side, a little
kind of in the come area. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, it's kind of neat. Something that we found out.
Thanks, by the way, to Greg for sending us stuff like that, because we'd never hear about that unless somebody like Greg does it. So,
that's a great thing.
I love that.
That's a great thing about having our listeners, respond. Yeah, that we get this great information that no way would we find out about it otherwise.
No,
yeah.
And then we'd go to Orleans and look like an idiot when they, we'd have to ask what that was.
That's right. Now, if we ever go to the Orleans, give me a $25 place on the hard four.
There you go.
That's it. You don't even need to think about. I know when it wins. I know when it loses.
Have you played here before?
That's
Never.
Right. I have a podcast.
Yeah, right.
Hey, something that we found out just through actually doing this, we found out, this is just as far as Caesar's properties go and total rewards. If you play free play on a slot or video poker, and it's free play that has automatically been added to your account.
Yeah, it's like loaded into your account.
Right.
So you have to access it on a machine.
Right. You put your card in and then, just through the video monitor, you put the money on. If you play that free play, you do not get player credits for the play that you do.
As opposed to putting your own money in
right.
and playing where you get some credit for it.
Right. You get reward credits and tier credits. However, if you're using free play in the form of those coupons that you put into the slot,
right.
like $20 free play, and you actually put the $20 coupon in, you do get player credit for that free play.
Okay.
Now, why there's a difference, I don't know.
I was just going to ask, why would there be a difference?
I don't know.
I mean, I know you're not a casino owner.
No. And maybe they don't even realize this is happening. We just let the cat out of the bag, and now we've screwed it for everybody.
Because now there's going to be no free play for your coupon either.
That's right.
No points for your coupon.
That's right. But no, we just found this out, over the course of a couple weekends when we were doing some free play up at Harrah's, Southern California. Speaking of Harrah's, Southern California, let's tell a story what happened this last weekend that was, I think, pretty significant. We were up there on Friday night. We didn't tweet about it because we actually went up to Pechanga first to check out their crap situation up there. And look around.
No reason to go to Pechanga for craps,
I don't think
as far
so.
as I can tell.
Yeah, they now have dice and they use cards, and it was just very slow and
very slow. Yeah.
But anyway, we ended up at Harrah's, and we were playing at a table, $10 table. And when we stepped up, I was saying, boy, Mike, I'm really going to take it easy tonight because I'm still kind of recovering from VIMP financially.
Right.
And
we've had a few losing weeks.
Yeah. So I said, all I'm going to do is place the 6 and 8 for $12 and just see how it goes. So we played at this table for a while, and it started out very well.
Yeah, the first shooter was really good.
And then it kind of went sour, and you were losing, and I had done well enough that just betting the 6 and 8 for 12 each, I was up like $75, $80.
Yeah, I think I was down a little. I mean, I still had 3/4 of my initial buy-in.
Right.
So.
Well, next to us, a brand new table opened up, a $25 table. And so I said, well, Mike, do you want to go over there? Because the nice thing about going to a $25 table is there aren't as many people, and it goes a little bit faster. And,
right.
And we
Two funny things about that. Number one, it was 10 p.m.
Yeah, they opened the table.
They opened the table at 10 o'clock at night for $25. They had 3 other tables. I think 1 5, 2 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Why they do that at that time?
I don't know. It's a good question. Because, when they opened it up, we were still at that other table and nobody was playing there.
No.
It wasn't until we decided to move over there that
we were
that
the first ones to go there. Yeah. And that was maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't march right over there.
But I said, Mike, 25's too high for me, but I'm happy that, winning like $80 here, I'll just go over to the table and watch you play. So you were playing a little bit, and then you had this great suggestion. You said, hey, Mark, why don't you place the 6 and 8 for $30 each, and then I will buy some of your action on those bets.
Right.
Right?
So in essence, you were putting 12 on each of them.
Yeah.
And I was putting the rest.
Yeah. So I had 12 and you had 18, even though I was making the bet. So I would make the bet, give them 30 each on the 6 and 8, and then you'd give me 18 each for the 6 and 8.
Right.
And then when it would hit, they would pay me 35, but I would give you 21 of that and keep 14 for myself.
That way you get to play.
Yeah, right.
At the same limit, and I'm just, adding a little money. I mean, it's like me making a bet on you.
Yeah, because right, exactly. So that actually worked for quite well for a while, but the table got real cold.
Yeah, it did get cold, and we started off well.
I know.
It was just you and I, and we both. I had a couple good rolls, remember?
Yep.
And then you had a couple good rolls. It was like back and forth, but then it got cold.
It got cold. I lost the $80 that I was up, and then I almost lost the entire 100 that I bought in for.
Yeah, you were down very low. Yeah. I mean, I think you were down to like a couple of bucks, literally a couple of bucks, right? And I was getting low on my initial buy-in. By that point, my initial buy-in was getting down to the point where, well, let's go.
Yeah, we were very close to going, yeah.
But I think the reason you were hit harder than me during the bad rolls is 6s and 8s were just not coming up.
Yeah, that's true.
Remember how many 5s and 9s came up? And I was making money on that.
Yep.
And points were hitting.
Yes.
There'd be like a 9-pointed hit, a 4-pointed hit. I was losing a little bit slowly. You were losing a lot because 6s and 8s just were not coming up at all.
And I was not making a pass line bet. All I was doing was placing the 6 and 8. Right, exactly. Right. So anyway, finally the dice got around to me, and you said, go ahead and roll, Mark. I'll just make a $25 bet in front of you so you can roll, right? So it was still your money, but it was like, well, then I can roll.
So I had basically a $50 bet, 25 on you, 25 on me.
Yeah. So I started to roll, and first of all, let's talk about this guy who was at the other side of the table. As we were playing, a few more people came to the table.
Right. Well, really only him. A couple of people stopped and putzed around for 10 minutes and left.
Right.
But he stayed a while.
He stayed. And here's what he was doing. At the beginning of each shooter's roll, he would buy in for $1,000. And as soon as the shooter established a point, he basically put all his money out on the table in some form or another.
Out there.
Right. And then when one of his bets would win, he would just parlay it, or he'd take the winnings and,
pile it on the line
or something like that. Right. I mean, to the point where, it was like every roll he was doing that. And you and I kind of looked at each other like, well, I mean, this guy's not going to make any money unless he gets this huge roll.
Right. And we were thinking, what's his cutoff? When does he say, okay, like I press this one, I press that one, I 4 numbers have hit, I pressed them all. I've still got my 1,000 out there plus all my winnings. At what point do you collect?
Right. When does he start collecting? Yeah.
Right.
Well, so anyway, he had done this 3 times in a row.
Yeah. So he had 1,000, 1,000, 1,000.
Right.
It was your roll, my roll, his roll.
That's right. And then,
and it was 3 pretty bad rolls.
Pretty bad rolls.
Like 1 or 2 numbers were made, but he parlayed it all, so he wasn't making any money.
Yeah. So it got around to me again. Once again.
So, there's just the 3 of us. Yep. So now it's back to you.
Yep.
And he pulls out another 1,000.
Yep.
Puts it all out there on you.
Yep, puts it all out there. So now I start rolling and rolling and rolling, and now I'm starting to have a pretty good roll. I've rolled a few 6s and 8s, so I'm ahead for myself. And eventually I make my point of 5. And again, I don't have anything on the line, but you won your 5. He had been stacking so much on the line. I think he actually placed the 5, but he had been stacking it on the 5.
He had been adding to it a lot.
And then the 5 came up. It's like, oh, hey, good. At least I made a point, and, so I'm doing okay here.
And he probably, by the time you made that 5, I bet you he had probably had about 2,000 back in his roll.
Yeah,
he did
start collecting.
He started
finally.
collecting,
yeah. So then, I continued to roll, and again, having a pretty good roll, and I made a second point. And so now it's like, okay, good. And, he is starting to accumulate some bets, but he's still got a lot out there.
He's got a ton out there.
Right. Meanwhile, you're starting to make some money because I'm rolling some hard ways.
You were rolling hard ways like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you rolled 3 hard 6s, 2 hard 8s, 2 hard 10s, and a hard 4.
Yeah, and so you had been parlaying, so you'd collected some pretty good money on that.
Well, the 8 or 6 went immediately to 100.
Yeah.
So the second and third time you rolled it, that's $900.
Yeah. So I'm continuing to roll. It's like roll, and it's going well. Now, the thing is, I'm not making that much money.
No, because you've only got 6 and 8.
That's still all I'm doing. I'm playing with scared money, really. My bankroll is so depleted. And that's how I've got to play. But oh well, I mean, you're making money, and I am making some.
Yeah,
right?
and you were making a comeback.
Yeah, and I was definitely making a comeback. So my point was 4. And so I'm rolling, and one of the dice goes off the table. And, in the past, I've always just said, oh, just give me another one. But then I thought, wait a minute. My new philosophy is to keep everybody at the table happy.
Right.
So I said, same dice.
Right. The guy was real happy you called for same dice.
Same dice. Got the same dice. Threw the dice. 4, winner 4.
Hard,
pass line, winner 4.
Right.
And then I screamed something at you like, that's why you always ask for same dice.
Right,
I'm not an idiot. Right. That's right. So I'm continuing to roll, and we're looking down at this guy on the other side of the table.
Yeah, we're on opposite ends. Yeah. He's by himself down there, and we're at the other end.
And he has really started pressing his bets.
To the table max.
Yes, he had his 8, certainly his 8, pressed up to $2,400. The table max
was 2.
Was it 2? Yeah. The table max is $2,500. I wonder if they would have let him go to $3,000. I don't even know if he asked.
I don't even know. I didn't pay attention.
Because sometimes on the 6
I know he got to 24,
but he definitely
I know he had
24.
the 5 and 9. Yep. Well, probably about 2,000, maybe a little less.
So then I get on a run where I'm just rolling 8s like crazy.
Oh my God. All of a sudden you were rolling 6s and 8s like crazy. It's like all night on that table, 6 and 8 had not come up.
Right.
It was 5s, 9s, everything. At the beginning of your roll, you rolled 5s, 9s, 10s, 4s, everything. All of a sudden, it was just 6, 8.
Yeah.
And I mean, at one point, I think you rolled like 4 8s in a row.
It could be. And also at that point, I said, hey, Mike, I'm making enough money now. Let me buy my action back so that I have 30 on the 6 and 8. So I did eventually do that.
Right. Eventually, you got up to the table minimum.
Right. Well, anyway, so basically, every time I'm rolling an 8, this guy on the other side of the table, he's winning $2,800.
Right.
And we're watching his stack.
He got to the point where he could not add anymore.
Yeah.
So he had to collect.
Right. He had to collect.
He had to collect. He couldn't add anymore. He could add a little to his hard ways. I think he only had the hard ways up to 200, but 300 is the table max.
Yeah.
So even that, he couldn't add much to it.
Yeah. So the dice are sent to me again, and then from across the table, I hear the guy yell, "Shooter!" And he tosses something in the air and comes to me, and it's a $100 chip.
Nice.
Right? He tips me $100. It's like, yes, good. I'm not making any money for myself because I'm too scared to bet.
But you're making tip money.
But at least, he's tipping me. So yes. So then, I continued. The roll just kept going.
Right.
And when, about every couple times he'd collect, he threw me another $100 chips. He'd throw one to the dealers too, right? Here's for the dealers, here's for the shooter. And
he was pretty happy.
Yeah, he was very happy.
And you were like one of the dancers at Glitter Gulch, You're working for minimum wages, but those tips are pouring in, right?
That's exactly right. I did, a total of maybe 6 points. 4 were unique, so we did win the fire bet for 4 numbers, right? Or I should say you did, because I didn't actually have a fire bet out there. When I finally 7'd out, the guy had tipped me $500. Which was way more than I won on my own.
Yeah, you won about 100.
That's
and
right.
he tipped you 5.
You had more than almost tripled your money. Well, almost quadrupled your money, really, from what you started with.
I quadrupled it. Yeah.
So, what a great roll. And then you rolled a little bit after that. We really didn't have any good rolls after.
No, I think we left after mine. Right, I rolled and I knew it was going to be bad, and then we left.
Yeah. So anyway, as we were about to leave, and this guy's about to leave too, he comes back over. But I went over and gave him a big hug after my roll and said, thank you very much.
Yeah.
He came back to the table and he said, hey, I just want to thank you again. Gave me another $100 tip.
It was very nice.
Yeah. So all in all, he tipped me $600. And you and I were talking about how years ago when we had that great run at Caesars, where we won like the $15,000 and $20,000 a piece. I had tipped the shooter $500. When the 4 came up and we'd won $10,000, I was just so excited. I tipped him $500, which is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done at the craps table. Right. Even after I did it, it's like, that was $500.
You know what? It wasn't stupid because you gave that guy a story he'll tell his whole life, right? He'll tell his grandkids, I had this great roll once. Guy tipped me $500, a $500 tip. All his life, you don't know him, he doesn't know you, but you both can tell that story forever.
That's right.
And that's worth gold. That is good.
Well, karma finally came back because now I've been tipped $600, right?
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that? I was thinking about this the next day. The $500 he tipped you as you were rolling, it was like, okay, he made $2,800. He threw you $100.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But the $100 at the end.
I know.
Because after he'd already tipped you $500, it's like, if he didn't tip you that $100 at the end, you're still very happy. And you think he's the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He
still came over, shook my hand.
He had really no reason to give you another $100, but he just felt like, hey, I want to give this guy another $100.
Yeah.
And he gave you another $100. That extra $100, that's a class act.
I agree.
That is a class act.
And the guy cashed out. We figured it when we were looking at him cashing out. It was about $25,000.
About $25,000. He was in for 4, so it's about a $21,000 win.
Yeah.
I think it was 25 and change. So he almost a $22,000 win.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was probably your best roll ever.
Yeah,
a way better roll than when you won the fire bet.
Yeah, because it was much longer, way more numbers.
Roll.
Yeah, and that's what kills me. I mean, thank goodness he tipped me because I really did not make that much money on myself.
Here's the funniest thing: the two numbers you needed to make the fire bet to hit all six, were 8 and 10.
8 and 10. That's right.
8, and you rolled a boatload of 8s. Yeah. I mean, you rolled 8 more than any other number, just never on the come out.
Yeah, never on the come out.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you had rolled that 8, it would have been 5.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's get on to some listener feedback. So a few episodes back, we were talking about casinos on cruise ships. We got an email from listener John who said that he and his wife cruised on the Royal Princess. And he was very pleasantly surprised to find pretty good conditions on the casino floor. $10 3-2 blackjack, which is great. And some relatively loose slots. The craps table was very active. He said it was just double odds, but I would expect that on a cruise ship.
Yeah, they don't want to get hurt
for the most part,
bad.
he said he was good. So he said, your cruise card was your bank on the slot machines, and when you were done and ready to cash out, you went to the cage, swiped your card, and got paid. Now, I've never cruised before. When you've been on a cruise ship, you probably haven't played slots.
No, I didn't play any
But that
slots.
makes sense that you would just use your card on there and then cash out that way.
It's a good way to track it, too.
Yeah. So here's what he said. He said, here is an interesting point for your advantage players, kinda. The casino on the ship actually sold scratch-off tickets in $5 and $20 denominations. As a frequent cruiser, Princess supplied us with a coupon book similar to the ones in Vegas hotel casinos. One of the coupons was a buy two, get one free scratcher coupon. I bought 2 $20 tickets and got one for free and ended up winning $75. So
pretty good.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. He says, keep up the good work, and you guys must make a trip to Mohegan Sun. Now, we've been getting a lot of pressure from all sides to go up to these Connecticut casinos.
Okay.
And listener Michael, a.k.a. Baccarat Guy, a.k.a. co-founder of the TravelZork website, he says Mohegan Sun is the best casino in the USA.
Now, how does he base that?
He's basing that on the number of table games. He said that they have like craps tables, 12 to 15 dice tables open on a busy night.
Are you serious?
Yes.
15 dice tables.
15 dice tables.
I've never been in a casino with 15 dice tables.
That's what he's saying. He says it includes $50 and $100 minimum tables, as well as all the way down to $5 minimum tables on a busy night. He says based on the table games, the table game comps, the choice of restaurants, he says all comps are 1-to-1 for shopping. 24-hour VIP lounges, in-house limos from the airport. Yeah. I mean, he was just going on and on about, and we're really hearing this about Mohegan Sun. So,
well, the gauntlet's been thrown.
I know we
have got to go there.
Yeah, we do. We've got to make some kind of trip up there.
I don't want to go in this winter.
No.
Okay.
No.
But spring or fall.
Yeah.
Fall would be good. See the colors in Connecticut.
It would be great if we could come up with some additional reason to go there. Like with something family related or something else.
Like one of our wives. Oh, I really want to go to Connecticut.
See, the thing is, we're just so spoiled by having like airfare and accommodations handled by Caesars. That's why we're thinking, we'll go to Caesars property. Right. In fact, you're going to Indiana, aren't you? Here in about a month?
Less than a month. I'm going to Indiana.
Yeah, on Caesars ticket,
Caesars,
right? Yeah, yeah. So, we got to find a way to get up there.
Yeah, well, we'll work it out.
All right.
Maybe Caesars will send us.
That's right. Ask them. Next time, ask your host.
Yeah.
Will you send us up to Mohegan Sun?
I know it's in Connecticut and it's not your property, but come on.
Yeah, really. We'll play here more. I'll be your best friend. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Don't forget to call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Mike.
Yeah, my name's Mike from Alpine, and I'll tell you about what happened at the Ajas. They have this drawing for an Austin Healey. Last Saturday, my wife's friend, she came down, she's a Pechanga Indian, and she wanted to win the car. So she went and she played. She's playing like $50 a spin or something. So she ended up winning the car. They called the 10 people, and she was the one that got it. Well, anyway, the interesting part is that when she went in to get the car, they offered her $50,000 instead of the $108,000 Austin Healey. Well, she wanted the car. Well, now here's where it gets good. They tell her, oh, no, you can't afford the car. It's like $38,000, and you have to give us, this was a lie, it's Saturday, and they tell her you have to come up with $38,000 in the next 24 hours. It was a Saturday night at like 10 o'clock, so she's like, well, how do I go to the bank and get the money out? I mean, they just put full pressure on this woman to take the $50,000, and so they wouldn't have to write a check to the dealer for $108. Anyway, she was all confused, so she said, I want to let my family come in and talk. So anyways, my son and my wife were there, and they went in there. So my son, he heard all this. It was cost $8,000 a year to register the car, and they were coming up with all kinds of, just really pouring the pressure on for her to take the $50,000. So anyways, my son, he says, maybe we need to call a lawyer. So then after that, they got a little more understanding. So he started talking to the dealer outside. He's going, oh, she's taking the car. And the dealer says, oh, nobody's ever taken the car, ever. So he wanted to bet my son $1,000, and he says, yeah, fine, she's taking the car. But anyways, all right, bye.
Well, that story, it's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising at all.
It's a little depressing that it's not quite bait and switch, but right. It's I believe them when they say that nobody takes the car. If the amount of money that they were giving out were really close to the value of the car, yeah, I would take the money.
I would take the money too.
Yeah.
In this case, I would definitely take the car.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably take that Austin Healey and just sell it back to the dealer for $75,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's, no mileage. Just sell it back. Hey, you can have this for 75. They'll turn around and sell it for 100 again and make money both ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely want to take the car. Now, I wonder what they would have done. Like, say that's, me or you, and my dad just says, well, here, let me write you a check for $38,000.
Yeah. I mean, how
are they going to get out of that?
Yeah. Now, what was that for tax and license? That's the only thing I can figure is that, tax and license.
Yeah.
And that's what she wanted to do. And they were just, well, no, take the money. Yeah. I wonder how much pressure she was under. To the point where she was asking like people to come in and help her make the decision. That's too bad.
It's kind of weird because it's a lame excuse. You need $38,000. Okay. Well, here's my credit card.
Yeah.
$38,000. I mean, I got a card with more than that.
And, let's say that you didn't have that much on a credit card and the person really wanted the car. Right. What he's saying is it's Saturday night. How do you get that kind of money?
Right.
How do you, I mean, you don't.
Maybe that's why they drew the drawing on Saturday night. Right?
Yeah. That's too bad. Yeah, that's too bad. Well, funny. It sounds like she eventually got the car. But,
he kind of cut off there at the end, but I assume she got the car.
Yeah.
I would have taken it too and then sold it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Right. I'm not going to drive that car around. Yeah. No. With the insurance and everything else.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you don't want to pay. That's why all the lame excuses like, it's going to cost you this much a year. No, it's not. I'm going to sell that baby right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're trying to talk her out of it. Yeah, right. Okay. Let's hear from our buddy Ed.
Hey guys, it's your buddy Ed in New Jersey. Just calling about episode 83, when you guys talked about that Fugazi over at Bellagio, what the craps deal is, with the the hot bets rather. And you said that one of the guys involved, Jeffrey Dean Martin, I believe was his name, that he was claiming that he was a Major League Baseball player on the San Diego Padres, and you guys had some doubt as if that was true. Listen, if you're going to claim falsely that you were a Major League Baseball player, if you're going to lie about that, why are you going to say you were a Padre? Really? A Padre? You're going to say you were a Yankee, a Met, let's go Mets, maybe a Dodger? Not the Padres, give me a break. Anyway, what I really wanted to tell you was, over in Atlantic City at Borgata, they removed 2 craps tables, leaving them with about a dozen or so left. And they put in blackjack tables. They're only use those particular tables on the weekend. They're 3 to 2, but they're hand shuffled, and they're not using they don't use any continuous shuffle machine, but they don't use automatic shuffles on those because they're only used on the weekend, and they don't want to pay the fee. So if you play at those tables, you can get a lot of comp time because it takes a long time to shuffle, blah, blah, blah. So just a little something for the Atlantic City player. And finally, for the listeners, I just want to remind you that, if you listen to this podcast, go over and use the Amazon link for these guys. They work hard. They went all the way to Vimp to put on the show for us. All right, guys. Thanks for everything. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, that was great. He's right. Why would anyone want to claim to be a Padre?
Yeah, why would you claim to be any kind of San Diego sports figure?
Yeah, right. Oh, God. It's so pathetic. And you know what, Ed? I'm born San Diego, lived here all my life, and I 100% agree with you. Yeah. I wouldn't claim to be a Padre. I'd rather be a Met or a Yankee.
Well, thanks, Ed, for the tip, too, also on the Borgata blackjack tables. And he said, go Mets. We actually got this call before the World Series was played. Yeah, right. We were so backed up on phone calls. But
well, he made a good point, though, about playing at a slow blackjack table.
Yeah, that's true.
For people who are interested in it, if, you're out there to get comp time, which is always a good thing, look for those tables where it's slow, right?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, because it could be a $25 table. If it's slow enough, you're getting a lot of comp time.
Hopefully. Now, we've also said that table games comps are, how do they rate you?
There's a little bit of voodoo to that.
Yeah, but no, that is a good point, though.
But, if they look at hours at a table, that game's got to be slow, hand dealt.
Yeah. And thanks for pitching Amazon, too, Ed. This would be a good time to say to remember whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first. YouCanBetOnThat.com and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. All right, let's hear from Kevin.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Kevin from San Antonio. What a great event is. That's the first time my wife and I had been, and we loved it. We'll definitely be back next year. It was great to meet you guys. And just a quick craps story for you. Played a lot of craps late at night, and up and down, but more down. Till the last night, I was at the table by myself, and over came a whole wedding party. The bride in the wedding dress, the new husband in the tuxedo, and their whole wedding party. And they came over and started playing, and it was late. It was about 3 or 4 in the morning. And they were in a good mood. I was in a good mood, and I was like, we got to start cheering for the shooters. And then the table just started getting hot. Everybody's cheering. Every time a point was hit, just everybody's high-fiving. At some point, it was decided that slapping asses was good luck, which with every point, everybody ran around slapping asses. It was insane. One of the funny things was real friendly dealers. They one of them turned to the bride at one point and asked her if her tattoo on her arm was real. And all I could think is, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. There's a woman in her wedding dress playing dice and drinking beer. I'm guessing that's not a stick-on tattoo. Anyway, had a great time, and look forward to it next year.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah. I mean, I like the ass slapping too, Let's not adopt that ourselves, you and I. No. That'd be all right.
Yeah, it was great to meet you too, Kevin. And thank you very much for the wager that you made for us. And we are very close to winning that wager.
It looks like that's a done deal.
It pretty much looks solid.
I shouldn't even say that.
If and when we win it, we'll let everybody know what it is. But we're very close.
That was a good wager on his part, too.
Yeah, definitely. Yep,
smart.
Yep.
The funny thing about that, I like the tattoo story. Yeah, I think if you're a bridesmaid and it's your wedding night.
You mean a bride?
Yeah, you're a bride or a bridesmaid.
Okay.
And it's the late night of the wedding and you're at a craps table drinking beer. I pretty much assume the tattoo's real.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the best thing about that story, for me anyway, is it just drives home that point how fun craps can be. Uh-huh. I mean, for as miserable as it can be at times, when things are going well, and even if they're not going well from a gambling standpoint, just having people around you that are, happy and stuff. That was our VIP experience, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That Sunday night when we're hanging out with everybody and playing craps, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
No, that was fantastic. Yeah. Okay, next call.
Hey, guys. Start off by saying I love the show. My name is Rich from Des Moines. Just got back from Vegas with about 17 people for a Halloween celebration. A couple quick observations, and I've seen more of a trend of this. But playing a couple of the carnival games, the 3-card poker and the Mississippi Stud. Enjoy the games. We stayed at Planet Hollywood, and had a lot of problems. Almost every session were just improper payouts. Not the right amount, not paying for winning hands, having to call it. You know what happens from time to time. People are human. But one session at the Mississippi Stud, 3 times in a row, the dealer had to unbury cards to pay a couple at the end. And it was an elderly couple and weren't paying attention. And they thanked me for telling them a couple times. And by the 3rd time, I think they were even growing frustrated with that. So rather than make a scene, I just thought I would leave the table. And I offered to color my chips up as they do before you leave the table. And I kind of thought I was saying something under my breath, but actually came out loud. I said, I think I'll take my chances at the cage, and a couple guys at the table laughed, and I guess I didn't say it to myself. I must have said it out loud. But anyway, it was just frustrating that sometimes I'm playing and, I may have had a drink or two, and I kind of depend on the dealer to make sure it's paid right. And I felt like I had to, even though it was in my hand, to help everybody else to make sure they're being paid right. And like I said, 3 times in a row pulling out dead cards and to pay a hand slows down the process. Plus, it just was a little frustrating. And I did say something to the pit boss. I think maybe you know me a great dealer, but 3 times in a row you have to unbury dead cards to pay out winning hands. And most of those games they're not a $5 or $10 bet. They're all 3 of the times it was from $80 to $120 payouts that overlooked. So anyway, not trying to be too critical. I had a great time other than that, but if you're going to play those games, and I know they're getting more and more popular, it is your money. I guess pay attention to it and make sure you're being paid right. Anyway, that's all I've got. Didn't know if it was just my experience with either of you two or any of the other listeners have seen a growing increase of improper payouts. I guess with blackjack it's a little bit easier. Maybe they count wrong. Sometimes your payouts are right. But just a new trend. I haven't seen that much here, gambling here locally or there the last couple of times I've been out there, but it was just one of those weird deals that time. Anyway, love the show. Thanks, guys.
What do you think, Mike? Have you seen more of a trend of, bad payouts?
Yeah, you do see a little more of that,
I think. So?
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you what, Rich, I think you see it more because dealers are required now to deal a lot more games.
Yeah, could be,
you go back 20 years ago, the craps dealers were always at the craps table.
Yeah.
And then the other dealers were dealing either roulette or blackjack.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of carnival games. Maybe Caribbean Stud.
Yeah, there'd be 1 or 2 carnival games they try. Yeah. Now it seems like, there are more carnival games than there are blackjack tables in most casinos.
Yeah, and a lot of them have different side bets.
Yeah, they have different side bets, different payouts. And so those dealers have to go from one to another. And on a night, let's say you're a break dealer, you might be giving a break. You might be dealing 3-card poker, blackjack, then, Mississippi Stud, and then some different blackjack game with,
with like a different side bet
or a different side bet. Yeah. So, I could see where they get confused.
Yeah. One of the dealers, I didn't know if you noticed this, one of the dealers at the VIMF Hangover Casino Challenge Cup.
I think we talked about this.
Yeah. It was on blackjack, and they had that 3-card poker side bet, right? Where if your first 2 cards and the dealer's up card made like a straight or better,
or a straight flush,
something like that, then you get paid. And she constantly was missing that.
Oh, she missed it 3 times when I had winning bets.
Yeah.
And I was the last one. You were the first one.
That's true. You're right.
And we were the last table to play that, and she missed mine 3 times where I had winning, where I'd made straights.
Yeah. Yes.
I had like 6, 7, and she had an 8 or something like that.
That really should be the first thing that she's doing is checking that bet and then paying it or collecting.
But it's like I said, they do so much and they kind of forget about those side bets. And to be honest, the onus is on the player to watch their bets in any game.
Yeah, of
even
course,
in craps, you have to know where your
it.
money is. You have to know what you're supposed to get paid.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're tired or you've been drinking a little bit,
Rich makes a good point, right? You're there to have fun and you're probably drinking. So really, you're saying the onus is on the player, but it really should be the dealer and the pit boss too. They should be watching out for you as well.
That's what I'm getting to. They have a certain amount of responsibility too to watch out for you because they want you to have a good time.
Yeah.
And if you have a good time, you're going to spend more money and come back.
Yeah.
Right. So it's to their benefit to make sure everything goes good for you. Yeah. Now, in this case, maybe the dealer was, not feeling well or having an off night or tired. Maybe they, had worked another job before then. Who knows? But then again, it's the pit boss needs to, when they have to back up, they have to ask the pit.
Yes. Oh, sure. Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the second time, the pit boss should say, "Hey, wait a minute. Now, what's going on here?"
Yeah, that's
right.
true. Yeah.
The third time's inexcusable.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So I would have been a little upset too.
Yeah. Well, now speaking of side bets, you had a patient who was telling you about something.
He plays a lot out at Viejas, which we talked about earlier, where the lady with the car story. Anyway, they have a new blackjack game out there called Lucky Lucky.
Okay, and it's a side bet.
It's a side, it's a side bet. So it's regular blackjack.
Yeah.
But there's a side bet you can make where you take your 2 up cards and the dealer's up card, and you make a hand.
Okay, right.
And certain combinations pay certain odds.
Yeah. Now, so the bet is called Lucky Lucky. This is about as simple as a side bet in blackjack gets, right?
This is very simple.
You get paid if the total of your first 2 cards and the dealer's card is at least 19. If it's 19, 20, or 21, you get paid. If it's over 21, you don't. I should probably make that clear, right?
It's 19, 20, and 21.
19, 20, and 21. Now, if it is suited 777, obviously we're talking about like an 8-deck shoe or something like that.
Right.
If
at least a 6-deck
If the 3 cards are suited 777, the bet pays 200 to 1. If it's suited 678, it's 100 to 1. If it's unsuited 777, it's 50 to 1. Unsuited 678 is 30 to 1. If it's any other suited 21, it's 15 to 1. And any other unsuited 21, it's 3 to 1. Right. And then if the total is 20 or 19, it's 2 to 1.
2 to 1. Yeah. And I assume that there's a limit on the side bets.
Yeah, usually it's like $25, something like that. But paying 200 to 1, who knows? It's a good question. But the nice thing about it is it's got a relatively low house edge for a side bet. It's only 2.66% house edge.
And I would have guessed higher.
Yeah, just when we heard it.
Just when we heard it, I thought, it was a higher. But 2.6 is pretty good. Yeah,
and your dad would probably like to play a side bet like that, right?
Yeah, especially if he like hit a suited 21 or something, right? Yeah. Had $5 out there, got 15 for 1 on his suited 21. Yeah, he'd be excited.
Yeah. All right, we'll have to go out there and take it.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking over Thanksgiving time, we just make a quick run up there one day just to check that out.
It's not a bad thing because it's pretty close to where I live.
Yeah, it's very close to here.
It's certainly closer than Harrah's. So we should go
and we don't have to stay and play long, but we should check, for like an hour or so. Check that out. Yeah. I'd like to know how many tables they have.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
because a lot of these side bets too, they'll have like one table.
Yeah, right.
And it'll be very popular, and so you can never get on it.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll check it out. All right, let's hear from Carter.
Hi, guys. This is Carter from Portland, and I was just listening to your show, and I heard you mention a time when you bought in at Caesars for $25 and cashed out for $15,000. And man, I sure would like to hear that story in detail if you wouldn't mind sharing it.
Okay, so Carter, this is the kind of the story we alluded to earlier, where I tipped the guy $500,
right?
And I cashed out for about $15,000, probably a little bit more than that, and you were probably over $20,000, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's closer to like 25 or so.
Anyway, we talk about that whole story. If you go back to episode 10, the name of the episode is "Place Your Bets." We go into great detail about that whole amazing crap runs, probably the best craps run we've ever had, just based on excitement and cashing out big. So go back to episode 10. That's where you can hear it. All right, one more call from Rick.
Hey guys, this is Rick D calling from Jersey. I just wanted to say it was a real pleasure meeting you guys. I really enjoyed it. I did get a chance to play with Dr. Mike a little bit before the Hangover Classic, and that was fun. But I just wanted to share with you the same experience that I had over at Binion's. I was there real early in the morning. There was nobody but me. I was playing fairly well. And it seemed like every other time I rolled the dice, it was throw it straight down the middle. Please don't hit the glass. Get it all the way down. I mean, and they were kind of belligerent, to the point where I wasn't going to go back except the fact that I won, and I usually return to a place where I won. And the same thing happened the next time I went back. So it was kind of amusing that you had the same scenario happen to you guys. So anyway, it was great meeting you guys. I can't wait for the next Vimp, and have a great time. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. It was great meeting you too. Boy, this Binion's thing, it left such a bad taste in our mouths.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, seriously, and it's like Rick said, it's almost like they want you to leave.
Boy, that's the way we felt. Yep.
Like, we don't need your business. Please leave.
Yeah. And it's funny because listener Oliver actually warned us about Binion's before Vimp. He had sent us an email talking about a bad experience he'd had there. The same kind of thing, right? The thing is, look, you're going to have a bad experience almost anywhere. Like we had a very bad experience at Vimp at Main Street Station. Right? It was bad. Right. We probably won't go back, but we're not going to badmouth the place because other people have said, it's kind of an anomaly. I've had real good experiences there. It's like, well, okay. But man, with Binion's, our firsthand experience and stories that we're getting from listeners, this is an issue there.
Yeah. I can't figure out why.
I don't know either.
You would think the dealers want to be nicer because they want tips.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of their income.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for them to drive people away.
I think it ultimately comes from the top down. I think it's probably upper management and it's just all the way down and the employees aren't happy and I don't know. That's my guess.
So you're saying that there's a management problem leading to poor customer service and consequently poor production.
Mike, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, so sounds a lot like the San Diego Chargers.
I'm not familiar with that team, but I'm going to have to take your word for it.
Yeah, trust me on it. It stinks at the top, and it goes all the way down.
All right, very good. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank a couple listeners for PayPal donations. First of all, Taylor, he donated $14. Now, normally we don't actually mention the amount of the donation, but $14 is kind of a running theme now on the show, apparently, it seems like. He actually said, I will buy in for $14 at Four Queens in honor of this podcast this weekend. He's actually there for his birthday. I think it's actually over. He had his big birthday celebration there. They were at the D. He had a big piñata.
I mean,
Sounds like
he had a great piñata.
Time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had a
at
piñata.
His birthday.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah.
God. I mean, we've had them for our daughters. I've never personally had a piñata.
Well, see, that's what Taylor was saying, right? Yeah. And I don't know that I have either. So yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's not our age thing. I mean, it wasn't as big when we were kids. Even birthday parties weren't even as big as they are now.
I don't know about that, but continue.
Well, there were some, but they weren't. We didn't go. Every kid didn't have a party every birthday.
All right.
But I'd like to have a piñata once.
All right, I'm going to keep that in
mind.
We
should see if we can get a piñata over a craps table.
Oh,
and if anyone hits, like 4 numbers to the fire bet, we get to break it.
We can break it, and then chips fall out, or what falls out?
Chips fall out.
Chips fall out. Yeah, what a nightmare for the crew, right? They're trying to wait. No. Also, thank you very much for the donation from Robin. Robin over at netimegambling.com. Thank you very much. We had a great time with him at VIMP
very
as well.
Good time, yeah.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top of the page that says TV listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. All right, Mike, wrap up the show.
All right. Well, I wanted to say, first of all, that we really do need to go out to Connecticut.
Yeah, I know.
But also, we need to get back to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
We had a good time there.
We sure did.
And it'd be nice to see Ed and Jim again. I mean, we had a good time there.
I wonder if we could somehow combine, that'd be
Atlantic
pretty
City,
ambitious, but
trip, yeah. I mean, before we retire, after we retire, it's probably doable.
It might be,
it'd be a little hard right now. But we do need to go back to both those places because we did enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
And, there was plenty of gambling in Atlantic City, so I like that.
Yep.
And the other thing I wanted to say, just real quick, as far as major league sports teams in San Diego,
all right,
we suck.
Okay, yeah.
And we all know that.
Yep.
The Chargers suck. The Padres suck.
Yep.
When we had basketball teams, they weren't so good.
That's right. The Clippers started here.
But we are the king of minor leagues.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is
right
true.
now, we have the Gulls back, minor league hockey. They're doing well.
That's true.
The soccer, San Diego soccer.
Yeah, the indoor soccer, they have always been powerhouses. Teams. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're good at minor league things.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad about that.
Okay.
Because as big a sports fan as I am, there's not a lot of pressure for us rooting for Padres or Chargers. So on a Saturday or Sunday, we can go to the casino.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's true,
and just kind of watch the game,
just in
on
the
a TV screen in the background and not feel too bad about it.
That's right. Win or lose.
Yeah, win or lose. We're playing craps.
Good. That's a good point. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.